No matter how old you are, you know, we need to be prepared. Anything can happen. We're not invincible.
I would like her to express where my son is not able to really, you know, how this is going to make it easier on them, because all they have to do is follow the plan. I don't want to be yelling out my last wishes in my last couple of hours.
The conversation is actually more important than anything. Everybody kind of needs to be part of your plan.
In families where this has not been discussed ahead of time, it leaves people in charge of making complex and difficult decisions without anything to go on.
Being the surrogate decision maker, as we call it, is a very, very stressful situation. The most common complaint that surrogate decision makers have is, I just didn't know what they wanted. We just hadn't talked enough about it. It's hard because we have to advocate for a good death in our society.
I want to go on a bingo cruise. I just want to live till I die.
Whenever I mention this subject, I mention it to somebody on my team at work, and right away there's
exactly.
It's such a downer.
But death is a natural thing, and how it's come to be such a horrible, distasteful thing that people won't talk about is hard to figure out.
That's why one of the reasons I really appreciate going through this work.
There's a huge need out there for people.
It's so huge.
It's so huge.
Yeah.
And
people just don't know, and they're so afraid.
So afraid.
In medicine, with the technology we have, there always is one more thing we can do. So we end up sometimes prolonging dying rather than prolonging living.
When it comes to dying, we need to focus on the person, on the whole person. Palliative care and hospice both provide that in a beautiful way.
Approach that one, it's still working. So. My husband's name was Alan Alberts. Alan voluntarily stopped eating and drinking while he was still mentally competent and in the middle stages of Alzheimer's, so he didn't have to live into the suffering and indignities that comes with the late stages of Alzheimer's. I believe Alan had a very, very peaceful, organic death. He didn't suffer. He had a good death.
Now I've come up with a plan. I've gone through the 5 wishes. I have to do this because not just for myself, but for those who are after me, my children, my grandchildren, my siblings, especially my siblings. I think they need this more than I do.